To Brat and beer chili, and this is one fantastic recipe. I think you're really going to enjoy it. And we even have a little bacon in there. So how could this be bad, right? Brats, beer, and bacon. So the first thing we did is I started cooking I took 4 pieces of bacon, just diced them up a little bit into smaller pieces, and then I'm frying them in a big pot that I'm going to cook the rest of the chili in. But I want to get the bacon, now that it's crispy, over to the side, and then we're going to add it back to the pot of chili. One of my chef friends, Ken Hall, makes a venison chili, and I kind of took this idea from him. Just so we'd have some great flavor in this chili. Venison, of course, is very lean, and bratwursts are pretty lean too. So this is going to give us some great drippings to cook our brats in. So I went to Festival and got some Oktoberfest brats. They actually make their brats there. They're fresh, family recipe, and there's nothing like fresh brats. There really isn't. Some great spices in here, secret ingredients. You can use the original Oktoberfest brats, which are wonderful, but you know what? I thought we'd add a little kick to it, and we're actually going to use in this chili a jalapeno Oktoberfest brat. So if you can find some of those, use some of those. If not, just any kind of fresh brat will work great. What we did is ran a knife in the back, just right through the casing, split open the bratwurst, and then you just basically, squeeze that bratwurst sausage right out of there. And then we're going to use this meat, this ground sausage with all that great spices, to make our Wisconsin chili. All right, so I'm going to get about 8 brats into our bacon drippings, and I just want to cook and crumble that bratwurst just like you would ground beef. I'm going to give my hands a wash here. I have a funny story. I'm getting old, so sometimes I'm like, did I share this story with you guys before? Well, when Ireland, my daughter, was really little, we were in Michigan, where I spent a lot of time. Love Michigan too, and that's actually where I was born. We have a cottage up north in Michigan, and it was 4th of July weekend, and 4th of July in our little town is just a huge deal. So we happened to be, my grandmother she's not with us anymore, to a country club. So we were going there for a big 4th of July party. And people were pretty dressed up, in their red, white, and blue, and it was kind of a fancier party. And so they had this beautiful buffet with 4th of July favorites, fried chicken, and mac and cheese, and pasta salads, and all sorts of things. So Ireland, like I say, was about 2 or 3, and we're going through the buffet line, and we get to the very end, and she says, as loud as she could, because kids, you can't control what they're going to say, "Mom, oh my gosh!" And I thought the whole country club turned to look at us. "They've got brats!" And she lit up like, a Christmas tree. It wasn't the fancy food. She was all excited for the brat. So you can take the girl out of Wisconsin. You can't take Wisconsin out of the girl. But I'll never forget that story. My mom looked at me like, I said, "She likes brats, Mom." Anyway. Okay, so I'm just browning up my sausage, and I want to cut up a little bit of celery and some green pepper. I always put a little bit of celery. Well, not all of my chili recipes, but I really like celery in soups and in chili too. So I'll just give it a fine dice and get it in here with my brat. A little bit of onion and a little bit of green pepper too. One green pepper that we're going to finally dice up. I love making a big batch of chili because you can kind of eat it all week. It's great for parties or entertaining. Of course, great for game day, but also the leftovers. I like to put them in a container, and you can freeze them, for about 3 months. So you come home from work, a really long day, and you're like, "What's for dinner?" "Oh yeah, that's right, I got that beer and brat chili in the freezer." throw it in the microwave, and you've got dinner. We've got some really fun recipes today. We're making potato pancakes. That's a Wisconsin tradition. And some killer grilled cheese sandwiches. Gourmet grilled cheeses. All right, how's our sausage doing? Oh, does that smell good? Yum-y. All right, I'm gonna get my onion, one diced onion, about 4 stalks of celery, and my green pepper, all in here with my brats. Thank you, Anne. Get that going. And just using those bacon drippings to cook the sausage and the vegetables, wow, it's going to give this chili some great flavor. Okay, time to start opening some cans here. You could smell this. I love making chili with things other than ground beef every once in a while. You know what I mean? Just kind of changing things up. Okay, so we've got 2 large cans, the big guys, the 28-ounce cans of crushed tomatoes. My kids don't like all those, you know, chunky chilies with the tomatoes in it, so this is a way that get that great tomato flavor that, you know, is in chili without doing the big hunks of tomatoes. So we're using crushed tomatoes. Still give it a little texture though, so still going to have lots of great flavor. Now we've also got 1 can, smaller can, of tomato puree, and this is a little bit smoother than the crushed tomatoes. Tomatoes, you know, stewed tomatoes, the big whole tomatoes, diced tomatoes, they kind of, you know, go down the line. Crushed tomatoes and pureed tomatoes, that's the smooth. So, all sorts of different tomatoes in that tomato aisle. And it's just nice to have canned tomatoes and different types of canned tomatoes on hand in your pantry. You can do so many different things with them. All right, I'm going to start adding some of my spices here. First of all, we've got some salt, a couple teaspoons of salt. And if you just salt the chili at the very end, it just doesn't work. You really have to kind of season as you go. 6 tablespoons of chili powder. Also going to do some paprika. Couple tablespoons of smoked, or 1 tablespoon of smoked paprika, going to give this chili some great color. 1 tablespoon of cumin, that smoky flavor. And then garlic powder. All right, now, here comes the fun part. Also a little bit of Worcestershire sauce. A couple dashes will do you there. And we got some beer. We're going to use the, let's see, Thunder River, which is one of those kind of micro craft beers, just to really give this a great, it's a darker beer. Any kind of beer will work. We've got 1 bottle of beer. And using beer instead of water just can give such great flavor to soups and chili, and just really kind of takes things to a whole new level. All right, now we're going to just start dumping. In goes our tomato puree. In goes our 2 cans of crushed tomatoes. And now we're just going to let this hang out and simmer a little bit, about 20 to 30 minutes. And that's when all the flavors are going to come back together. And then we're going to add, if you want, now you don't have to, some people do not do beans at all. I happen to like beans in my chili, so if you don't, leave them out. But we've got 2 cans of kidney beans, or you can try different beans in your chili. I really enjoy using sometimes pinto beans, and they would be really good in this type of chili, or black beans are really good for you. I like to add beans just because I think they add some great flavor and texture, and of course some protein too. So I'm going to get to work on draining these beans. You don't want to use the liquid that comes in the can. That just, no use for that. So we're going to drain those and let this simmer down for a little bit, let it all become chili, and then we'll show you how we finish it off. We'll add our bacon back in here and our canned beans, and this is going to be some of the best chili you've ever tasted.